Hi, I'm John Barber, Editor-in-Chief at IDW Publishing, and welcome to Barbershop. I think I mentioned this before, but I was an old-school Dungeons & Dragons guy. I mean, D&D's been around a while, it predates me, but I got into D&D in the Red Box era, when advanced Dungeons & Dragons was still a separate thing. I was into the novels, the magazines, the guidebooks. I still remember a time at Chris Baiocchi's house when my character got caught in the crossfire of a wizard and a monster during a big campaign. This is in high school, maybe, and I'll never forgive anybody for that. And I've been around for the D&D comic scene for a while, too. I edited the series for a while back. And at the time, I was excited to hire a writer I'd known was a D&D fan to come in and write a limited series bringing back two fan-favorite characters and showcasing an up-and-coming artistic talent. The writer was Jim Zub, best known now for his work on D&D, of course, but also The Avengers and Conan and Wayward and Skullkickers. The artist was Max Dunbar, who's built up an impressive resume at IDW and elsewhere, and continued to work with Jim on Champions and Stone Star and other stuff. And the fan-favorite characters were Minsk, the beloved ranger, and his miniature giant space hamster, Boo. Now, those two characters originated in the incredibly influential Baldur's Gate video games, which had come out in the late 90s, early 2000s, and helped change and define the face not only of Dungeons & Dragons games, but of role-playing video games full stop. The two Baldur's Gate games cast a long shadow. They're hugely influential, and they've been constantly in print for 2 decades, so it was a big deal to see these characters come back. And that Legend of Baldur's Gate comic book hit at just the right time, as the tabletop Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition was fanning the fire of D&D's popularity, and as D&D really moved into the cultural mainstream. Everybody always knew what it was, but now everybody seemed to be playing it, and playing it proudly. For these past few years, Jim's continued to chronicle the adventures of Minsk, Boo, and the rest of the party he and Max introduced. The first trilogy of stories are collected in the best-selling Dungeons & Dragons Days of Endless Adventure book. Now, with all that background, we find ourselves in a new series, Dungeons & Dragons Mindbreaker, and we find ourselves in a unique place. Well, our heroes are returning to Baldur's Gate, actually, but I mean unique in the sense that Mindbreaker is the final installment in Jim's second trilogy, bringing things to, well, I say this a lot, but I don't want to spoil anything. But also, Mindbreaker serves as a prelude to the new Baldur's Gate 3 video game currently in early access. As many of you know, there's a new game, the first in 2 decades, which is overwhelmingly exciting to both D&D fans and video game fans in general. So what is Mindbreaker, the comic? Like I said, Minsk and company return to Baldur's Gate, and they're on edge. Over the course of their previous adventures, the party members have gathered secrets and secret resentments. Old friends are behaving weirdly, and the sense of teamwork they've forged in the past seems to be unraveling. Plus, Minsk confronts the most terrifying citadel of action he's yet encountered, a library. And it's there that our heroes are enlisted in a new quest, and where all the dangers they fought before and all that's yet to come collide. Now, believe me, the fate of these heroes has never been in more danger. Max Dunbar is back for covers, but on the interiors, writer Jim Zub is joined by artist Eduardo Mello, a newcomer to D&D, but one who's already leaving his mark. D&D is a tough thing to draw. The fantasy element is tough enough, but there are so many pieces that fans know and recognize. If you get them wrong, you're dead in the water. Luckily, we're all fans here, and Eduardo brings to bear his astounding skill in rendering subtle detail, fusing that with dynamic action and fantastic storytelling, and keeping up with Jim's rapid-fire script full of comedy and drama as well as physical action. Like Minsk, Jim's stories spin from funny to dangerous in an instant, and Eduardo keeps pace spectacularly. Katrina, who I believe last visited the Forgotten Realms in IDW's Dungeons & Dragons at the Spine of the World series, provides nuanced and gorgeous colors, heightening the storytelling and bringing the Sword Coast to glorious life. So don't miss Dungeons & Dragons Mindbreaker #1, written by Jim Zub, drawn by Eduardo Mello, colored by Katrina, lettered by D&D veteran Neil Lutaki, and edited by Zach Boone and Megan Brown. Available now at the IDW website or your local comic book store. Plus, check out the early adventures of Minsk, Boo, and friends, see how they all came together in Days of Endless Adventure, also out now. And as always, let's use this time to connect and keep the IDW community active. That's all for this week. Remember, you can keep up with IDW on social media and check back here for news and updates. Thanks for watching.